Awesome. I'll go ahead and share my screen. Just need you to give me permission. Oh, great one. There we go. Now I need my screen. Okay. So tonight we're going to talk about finding our photos on our computer and uploading them to Family Search. A lot of times we put a photo on our computer and it kind of gets lost, or we download something and we don't know where it went, or we find a photo by some chance and we don't know how to get back to it. So Sarah could probably teach this class better than me. She's a computer pro, but we'll muddle through. Remember my password real quick. Okay, so I'm going to minimize my browser screen. And this where we're at right now is our desktop. So some of the places that you're going to find your photos, there's usually, when you get your computer, there's usually a picture folder already. And we talked kind of last week about coming up with a system to organize your photos so that you can kind of stick with that system and they end up being in the right place and they're more usable. But inevitably, one of them wanders onto the desktop, or you accidentally save it in your documents folder rather than your picture folder, or some mishap like that. All of the photos have a certain ending to them. It's called a file extension. So it's either going to be TIFF or JPG or JPEG. So if you just want to search the computer, you can do it right here in the search screen, but I recommend going to File Explorer. And this is kind of like the index of what's on your computer. And it defaults to quick access, but here you have desktop, downloads, documents, pictures. If you're really good, you've got them all organized in your picture folder, but that doesn't always happen. Desktop downloads and documents are a good place to check, because if they're not in your picture folder, oftentimes that's where it's going to be, is in one of those three. So if you went to desktop and you come up here to the search window in the upper right, do I need to make that bigger? Let's see. Can you see this search window in the upper right? So when we click on that, we're in the desktop. If we put dot, because that's what starts our file extension, and then the letters JPG, and hit search, it's going to find all of the images that end with that file extension on our desktop. So we could do the same for files that end in TIF, in TIFF. We could do that in downloads. We click on downloads over here and then do our file extension, because sometimes we have a file in there and we don't remember what we named it. So this will find all of the JPEG files in the download section. So we'll do it one more time for documents. See, it saved my search right there, so I'm just going to do JPEG. Now you notice some of them came up as a list and some came as pictures like this. In order to switch from those, you right click, you use your middle finger, so you're right clicking on your mouse in white space. And that brings up a menu with the word view. And you can do large icons, or you can do small icons, or you can do just a list. So I personally, because I'm blind as a bat, like large icons. I always right click and switch it to large icons, because then I can better decide which picture I want to choose for whatever I'm doing. So it's always good to look at, if you're looking for a photo, look in desktop, downloads, and documents if it's not in your picture file. Another place that we often find photos is if we have a USB plugged in. So it is going to be either, you come down on the left-hand side, I'm pretty sure you can see my mouse, and it will be either an E drive or an F drive. Those are usually the two settings for USB. And oftentimes it'll say the name of the USB. This one's a SanDisk. If you have a USB that you're going to use for a certain purpose, you can name it, so it's dedicated for that purpose. Excuse me. And you can double click it. And these are just the files that the manufacturer puts on it. So once we put some pictures on here, then we would be able to search this just like we did documents, desktop, and downloads. So do I have any questions so far? Now, Sarah, you're more than welcome to pop in and give some helpful tips here.
Oh, you're doing great.
Awesome. So say we found this picture and we're not sure where we found it on the computer. We can, let's see. Click on the 3 up here. Just a second, my things are in the way. And you can click on either open with, no, not open with. I'm looking for properties. Oh, I know how we'll do it. Let's go to documents and then we'll look for JPEGs. So we have all these JPEGs that come up, but we're not sure what subfolder they're in documents. So to figure out exactly where they are in the document section, we can right click on it and check properties, or open file location would probably be better. But see, we have location right here, and this is kind of an address to where that photo is. So it's
also, I'm sorry, it also shows when you hover your mouse over that thumbnail.
Oh, does it?
Mm-hmm.
Let's close this and try it on a different one, but it gives kind of an address of what folder hierarchy they're going to be in. So right there. Oops, I forget it's a touch screen. I don't have that at home. On here it calls it the path. So it gives you the file name, Fred Puller, the 1885 census, and then where it says C. If we look over here on the left hand, we see the local disk C. So it means it's going to be in that section. And then it's going to be in the patron folder, in the document folder, in the legacy family tree folder, in the data folder, and in the sample media folder. So it's kind of an address or a map how to get there. It's not always easy, an easy map, but it will help you to find that where that is on your computer. Okay, so because we have these new fun scanners, I thought I would scan a couple photos. And when you scan your photos, you can choose where on your computer you want those photos to go. So on our desktop over here, we have the Epson scan icon. We double click it. And it's coming to life. And I've already dusted 2 photos and put them in there, and you guys are gonna love these photos. Can't wait till you see them. So the first thing that comes up when we double click it is our information window. The DPI that we want to scan it at. I'm going to go ahead and scan it at 600. When you do come in with your photos, there'll be people here to help you. So I'm not going to go quite over every step. But when we click on the little file folder down here, we can choose where we want it to go. Up at the top, it says location. So we can send it to the My Documents folder. We can send it to the Pictures folder, or we can choose Other. And when you see the word browse, it means you're going to browse your computer. So when you click Other, you want to click on Browse to choose where you want to send it. And we have that kind of same menu that we did when we clicked on the file folder. This is the directory of our computer. We probably aren't going to send it to the desktop or documents. We're going to send it to our USB drive, and that was E. So I'm going to click on E. And this is my SanDisk. And down here it says make a new folder. So I'm going to make a folder for these pictures. And we'll call it Leon. Because that's who it's going to be a picture of. So because it's highlighted in blue, that's where my photo is going to go. I'll click OK. And I'm going to scan it as a TIFF, and then I'm going to scan it as a JPEG. We talked last week about having master copies. And ideally, your master copy is a TIFF. But because of the size of the file, it most likely won't upload to Family Search unless it's a really small image, because there's a limit on the size of the file. So right now, this is where, over here is where we select what file extension we're going to have. I'm going to choose TIFF and I'll just leave this as image for now, and I'll click OK. And I'm going to have it do a preview. So right now it's looking to kind of see what's in there so far. And I have 2 photos in there. I know you're loving the perm, aren't you? Oh, you would think he would be slightly embarrassed, but no, he took it to work and showed everyone. So I have no qualms sharing it here. Right now it's showing the whole bed of the scanner, everything that's on there. But if we click on thumbnail, it will separate the 2 pictures and it will adjust them. They were on there a little crooked. This will adjust them so that they're square. If they were tilted wrong, like if you had one in this way and needed to turn it, needed to rotate it, you can rotate it right here. But both of these are correct. And if you look close, this other one is Connie and John Godak from a while ago. So we're going to go ahead and do scan, and it will scan them individually. It brings up my window again, and everything's how I set it. So I'm going to click OK. And now it goes in and scans each one. And the reason that that is good is because then you're not cropping it afterwards. You're getting an individual scan of each one. Now it's scanning the second one. I feel I should have some music like Jeopardy. Do, 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 do.
It's really fast.
Yeah, it is pretty fast for a flatbed, and it is at a higher resolution. So it showed me where it saves them. Now this one is in list form, but to change that to the images, we just right click, go to view, and click on our images. So now to change it and save it as JPEG, I'm just
Pam, just for a minute, do you want to show how you can label a picture?
Yeah. So if I wanted to put a prefix on the picture, I can type in here, Leon. Let's see, this is going to be about 1987. When I'm trying to date the photo first in the title of the photo and then put either the event or the people. So 1987, and I will just put Leon and friends. And then you can also change the start number because whoops, sorry, I was making it larger. We'll put it as 1 since this is the first for that category. And it's still going to the Leon folder up here. I'm going to change it to JPEG and do OK. And then it will scan again. And it'll be just a little bit faster second time around. And that's just because the JPEG isn't quite as large a file. The TIFF is a lossless file and the progression is a little different. We'll just say this, TIFF is big and JPEG smaller. So it's doing the second one. Okay, so now I have both the TIFF and the JPEG files on my thumb drive. So I'm going to go ahead and close out. Did you have any questions about that before I close out? Okay. Yes. Close that one. Okay, and I'm going to go back to Family Search. And I'm still signed in. I just want to make sure, because if you sign into Family Search and then you don't do anything for 20 minutes, it kicks you off. At least it used to be 20 minutes. I really love when people share their photos on Family Search and their memories. I come from a large family, and the majority of the old photos I've seen are because of other people sharing their photos and sharing what they have. And it just means the world to me to be able to see those faces and hear those stories. So we call that section of Family Search the Memories section. I'm going to go to my gallery. So my gallery is specific to my account, kind of like a storage for my account. And I've uploaded a few photos already. Up here you have the icons along the top, photos, stories, documents, and audio. The difference between a document and a photo, they're both going to be those JPEG or TIFF files, but it's kind of putting them in a category. So when you go to someone's memory section, you'll see that the documents and the documents are together and the photos are together in another section. So we're going to add to my photos, the ones that we just scanned. And when you click on the plus sign, it opens up your options for adding your photos. So it tells you which photos you can add, which file types, that file extension. You have JPEG, TIFF, bitmap, PNG, and the ones we deal with will probably be mostly JPEG, maybe a TIFF. PDF is good for stories. And then the MP3 and M4A and WAV are audios. And there is a limit of 15 megabytes per file. When we choose files, we're choosing them from our computer. And we're going to find those ones that we just scanned. So we know we saved them in the E drive. So we go over to our little index to the left, and there's the E drive, and then our Leon folder. And over here, it tells you what type of file it is. So JPEG is the first two. And you can see it has that title that we assigned to them. And then the TIFF are the second two. This is the size of the file. So those JPEGs are 5,000 and 3,000 respectively. The TIFFs that are the same are 70,000 and 35,000. So that's kind of gives you an idea of why TIFFs are hardly ever uploaded.
So again, remind me, why would I do TIFF as opposed to JPEG?
TIFF is a file that you can open and edit, and it doesn't lose bits of information in it. It doesn't compress. You know, we have the pixels there, and sometimes when you compress, you lose some of those pixels in between. You can choose high quality JPEGs when you're editing your JPEG, and that helps on that. So TIFFs you probably won't work a lot with. They're just kind of like the picture in the archival paper that's preserved. And then the JPEGs are the copies that you hand out to all the family members. That type of thing.
Yeah, because apparently TIFF, because they're so large, you really can't put a lot on Family Search because you'll.
It would have to be a small photo. And you can scan them at a lower resolution. You could go down to 300. I wouldn't go below 300. Just because, especially if you want to enlarge them or if it's a group photo and you want to zoom in on faces. Okay, so I'm going to pick this one of Leon. Oh, so again, they're in list form. If I right click in the white space, I can choose extra large icons, and then I know which photo of Leon I'm getting. And then I choose open, and that's going to bring it into my gallery. So in my gallery, unless I tag someone who's deceased in the tree, no one's going to see the pictures in my gallery. So this picture of my daughter or my husband, me and myself and Sam, no one's going to see them because no one in that picture is deceased and has been tagged. And notice on this, it says add tag, add tile. We can add the details to the photos so that other people can see them. Once it's tagged to someone who's deceased, other people can see them. So I'm going to open this file of my grandma. And we can see that I've tagged my grandma, my Aunt Neva, and my Aunt Nadine. They've all passed away. So over here on the side, anyone who looks at their profile has the opportunity to look in their memory section and see this photo of them. Now, the next thing I need to do is I can go on here and I can add topic tags. I have a date on there, and I can add an event place. This would have been Pleasant View, Oneida, Idaho, United States. And save that. I can add a description, and then I can add it. You can create albums in your gallery to organize your photos, kind of like we want to do on our desktop. So I could add this to her husband. I have a folder for her husband, and I have a folder for her. Oh, wait. Let me do hers first. And then you can add it to another album, and I'll add it to his. And then it just kind of adds down here the albums. And I could create a story and tell a story, type a story about this this image also, or I can click on the record and I can record a story. This would be great for me to have my Uncle Carl. He's one of the few relatives in that family that still has his memories. And so he could maybe record a story about them to go with that. So I'm going to go back to the gallery. And I'm going to click the plus sign again for another one. Let's see, I'm signed into Facebook. So we can also get photos from Instagram, Facebook, and Google Photos. The thing about Instagram is when you upload a photo to Instagram, it often compresses the photo and it used to crop it to a square, but now I don't think it does that anymore. Does it, Sarah?
I think you have the choice it crops it
crop it.
automatically, but you can press the little arrow thingy to make it
Big.
the regular.
Okay. Facebook, they used to compress their photos, but they don't anymore. It was my understanding. So some of the photos that were first put on Facebook might not be as good a quality, but let's go to Facebook and see what photos I have on there. This could be kind of embarrassing. Oh no, this is good. We've got some cute photos on here. Let's pick this one and this one. And actually, I think I already have that one up there. And we'll pick this one of my grandma. Okay, and I've selected those photos. Now I'm going to import them. And now they come into my gallery and I can tag them. So we can go to my grandma because she's deceased. And I can click on her face. If you've done tagging on Facebook, you can do tagging here.
I have a question.
Yeah.
How come it uploaded so fast and didn't go through the process of evaluating that you didn't of these pictures when you took it from Facebook?
I think that would probably be a question for them. I would say I just got lucky and it's being really good to me. But sometimes you do get that delay where they're reviewing the photo. And so it might not come up right away. So I'm gonna get my box to the size of my grandma. And then I can just start typing in her name and it will bring up her her ID from the tree, her information from the tree, so that when I click on it, then it's tagged to her. And when I go to her page, I'm going to go to her person page and then memories. Oh, here's the processing photo. So it's got a little mark over it right now saying it's processing. That's just them checking and making sure everything's okay with it. I think they have restrictions for weapons and a few other things. So, but I think that one will pass muster. And then I can go back in and add details to it. So let's go back to the gallery. And we'll hit plus again. Let me sign on to Google real quick. Someone changed the Google interface to Spanish, so I hope I'm signing in where I'm supposed to be signing in because I don't know Spanish so well. So, pretend. Second time's a charm. Okay, so now I'm going to go back to the gallery and I can click. You need to have Google Photos open on your computer. Same with Facebook. You need to be signed into that. I'll go to my Google account. And, oh, here's a good one of Leon. Oh, and my son just started working for ISP, but I probably shouldn't upload that. And we'll go with the two girls. And I can import those photos. And then on this one, I can rotate it. I probably won't leave that one up. It's very much a team photo. But I can add a title to it just by clicking on there. Emily and Elizabeth. And then I can edit the other details over here. Now I can tag them, but because they're living, the only person that will see that photo and see that memory section is me. Even if she signs on, she's not going to see this photo that I put on of her. And so now she's tagged over here. But because she's living, like I said, the only person that's going to see it is me. Now, if there was another person in here who was deceased, if I tagged them, then they would still see, they would see Emily. They just wouldn't be able to go to this tag. Okay, so do you have any questions so far? The other one is Instagram. And I'm not very good at signing on Instagram on the computer. That's a phone thing only. But you can create a story and you can add multiple photos to your story. You can add up to 10 images. So you would click on that and we could add this one of Leon and Connie and Jack. And then we could talk about when he used to stay at their house instead of driving over the pass to go home after work.
I think that's something of real value, you know, that to take a picture and to add a story to it, because, you know, you can go through the album and you see a picture and it's like, yeah, but when you have a story behind it, then that picture comes alive.
Oh yeah.
So anyway,
definitely. So any questions about how to kind of get the photos onto Family Search, how to find photos on your computer? Like I said, you can search by those file extensions on the computer. If we go back to this, say it brought up all of the JPEGs, we're still not finding it. Another trick we could do is right click. So we get that same window that shows the view and we can do sort by. And if we know we downloaded it recently or did something with it recently, we can click on date and it will organize them by the ones by when they were put in or when they were last used. And so that might help us find one that we looked at recently. Any other tips, Sarah? You're awesome at this. Okay, I'm gonna go back to Family Search then real quick.
Okay, I have a question.
Yeah.
For Sarah and Pam. Okay, so let's say that I have a whole bunch of pictures on one drive. I have a whole bunch of pictures on another drive. How would you suggest that you get it all into one happy family?
Any thoughts, Sarah?
Well, what I do is probably not the most organized way, but I just have multiple external hard drives and I just drag them on there. My
Yeah.
photos are a hot mess, so I am not the one to ask about organization, but as far as just transferring them, you can move them as many times as you want. So move them from drive to drive to drive is fine.
Where do you
Yeah,
put, what do you, besides hard drives, do you have it on Google? Where do you put your?
I store everything in multiple spots. So I have them on Google, Dropbox, OneDrive.
Oh yeah, so yeah, so because I think I have some on OneDrive, I think I have some on Dropbox, but I want to get them all into one thing because I can't find anything.
There is software that you can purchase that will go through and look for photos, look for similar photos. It's something that you purchase and you put on your computer, and then you would need to sign into all your things, and it will help you organize your photos. Another thing you could do is multiple windows on the screen. So when you have your window open like this, you can click on the Windows key right here. And then if you click the left pointing arrow, it moves that screen so it only covers half of your monitor. And then if you go to this other screen and hit the Windows and right pointing arrow, now it's on the right-hand side, and you can go through one while you're checking the other one to see if you have multiples of the same photo. You can move them back and forth if you had like two files up here. So if I wanted another file one, I would just go down to this bottom icon, right click, and click on File Explorer. And then move him using my window key to this side. So then I could open desktop and have it show my images. And I'm gonna, so you can sort it by different things. We'll sort it by type. And then all my JPEGs are gonna be together. And I could go through this file and see if I have multiples. And if I decided, oh, this one needs to go over here, I don't have one of it already, I can just move it over and should make a copy. Nope, it didn't. So then right click it, copy, right click on the other side, and why isn't it letting me copy that, Sarah? Did I not copy it? Well, I don't know. It works on my home computer.
It should work, but sometimes the folder that you're in
Is locked.
is, well, not necessarily locked.
Oh, it's search
but
results.
yeah.
It's not an actual folder, it's the search results. There we go. So let me open this Leon folder. Now I have one folder on one side and one on the other. So then I could take my Grover and I could move it over here, and now it's in my new folder.
If you do that though, you're just making a copy.
Yeah, it doesn't take it away from the other side.
If you want to actually move it though, if you right click and drag it, and you can select move.
Move.
So right click the picture and drag it over. And then when you release it, it will ask you if you want to copy or move.
Move here.
And then it will move it and take it out of the one and put it in the other.
Good point. See, Sarah, you teach this class, I tell you.
I got one thing right.
And just because we scan the photo, there's Connie and Jack. It's been a while since I saw them in person. Okay, so any other questions? Oh, I know what I was going to show. On this memories section, we have the gallery, which is what we've added, and we have the people. And this is where I'm super thankful for all those people that have added photos, because this is a link to all of the people in my tree who have photos and who have memories added to them. And so these are photos that other people have added. I can search through this if I wanted to see the Belknaps. Sorry, gotta hit the search icon. If I want to see the Belknaps, then that will narrow it down to all the Belknaps that have memories added to them. And here's my grandma. So in her memories section are the photos that I've added and all the photos and stories that other people have added. So even if you haven't added anything, go on and see what other people have added to your family and get inspired.
So I have another question.
Sure.
Maybe this is for another day, another time, but adding, because I know, Sarah, you don't have a family search account. You use Ancestry, is that correct?
I have a family search account as well, but I don't really do anything with it.
Okay. Can you just show a quick process of, Pam, of adding photos to Ancestry?
Sure. Okay, let me go to here.
Just because I'm sure Sarah doesn't know how to do it.
Oh, I'm sure she knows how.
I'm teasing.
You hush now.
Let me sign in. Okay. I'm going to go to my tree. Let's do So on here, you also have a gallery. This is for this person. And in the gallery are the images of records that I've attached to her. So when you attach a record, if there's an image, it will get linked to that person's gallery. I'm going to upload media. Click here to upload. Probably don't want to add a picture of Leon. Let's go to Leon. This isn't my computer, so my picture of my grandma is back on Facebook, and you can actually, let's do that. So, or it's on Family Search. I'm going to go back to her on Family Search. So one more back. So this one that I just uploaded from Facebook, you can click Actions, Download. Now it just automatically downloaded down here in the corner. If I wanted to see where that went, I could open it and look at the path, or you can just click it and open it. Most computers at the beginning default to the download folder when you download something from the internet. You can change that setting, but for the most part, it's going to go to the download folder. So let me go back to Ancestry. I'm going to upload media. Click here to upload. And I'm going to go over here to my download folder. And I want to view. And there's my grandma. And so we'll open that. And here you again, you can add a title. This is a portrait. You can add a date, a location, and a description. And you can link it to multiple people. So if there were multiple people in the picture, I would just click add and type another person in my tree, like Leland. Which is her husband. And then I'll unlink him because he's not actually in the photo. And then click done. Now, one thing on Ancestry that I really like is they have yearbooks on there. So you can find your relatives on a yearbook. See, let me go back here. And when you attach that yearbook, it will highlight their face and ask if you want to add their face. So I'm going to go to my dad. Oops. So on my mom, when I found her yearbook, it asks if you want to use her face from the yearbook as part of the image. And so I have several yearbook pictures for her. So that's kind of fun. And I'm surprised how many yearbooks they do have on there. MyHeritage is kind of the same way. You can upload photos to it. They do have a colorization thing. So if you have a black and white photo, you can colorize it. I think they just added an enhancement thing also, an enhancement feature. Tammy, have you used that yet? We'll see if I got my password right.
The colorization I use 2, 3, 4 times a week. I mean, I'm addicted to it actually.
I want my photos. So here's a good one. This is branding back in the day, and that's what it looks like in black and white, and that's what it looks like colorized.
So fun.
Yeah, so you can see they're doing it old school, and now they have an enhance feature. And what it does is it makes a copy and then does the changes to that copy. So you still have the original on there, but it's kind of the same process to add a photo. You go over here and you have your upload photos, select files, and we'll add this one of grandma again. And I haven't used the enhance feature yet, so I'm not sure what they would do to grandma's photo. But we can click on it and see. And it looks like they've sharpened it up a little. So we can see here it's a little blurry. And then when we go over it, they've sharpened it. That's usually they define the pixels or do what's called a high pass, where it takes certain colors and makes them more intense. So cool. I like their enhance tool also. So any questions on those? You guys are all going to go try the MyHeritage one, aren't you? It's kind of fun. And some of the photos don't work as well as others. I'm trying to think of one that it didn't work very well on. Oh, this one of my parents. Because that photo had been processed already, meaning I'd opened it and I'd made changes to it already. So when it tried to colorize it, it didn't work too well. But these other ones have just been scanned and I hadn't processed them at all. I hadn't changed anything on them. So that's probably my favorite one. All right, well, if there aren't any questions, we're excited to have the new scanners at the Family History Center and for people to come down and use them. If you go to our website, there's a link to Sign Up Genius to reserve a spot. Each spot is going to be about an hour. It's going to be an hour and 45 minutes. So it'll be plenty of time to, we figure by the time you get all your photos laid out and dusted, you know, you want to still have time to scan and save them. So we're excited to see people in here and using the equipment. Anything you want to add, Tammy?
Thank you. This was great. All right. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for,
Right.
again, being here and participating.
Thanks, Pam.
Just look
No problem.
for hashtag Family History Center or something on Instagram.
There you go. Yeah.